Well, here's you, Chiefs Kingdom. It didn't go the way that you wanted. Nobody wanted this. We're going to break it down. That's what this show is for. We're going to get into it. Dan is with me. Glad that you're here. Tell your friends we can commiserate together because there's a lot to go over. This is RGR Football. Congratulations. We made it through the entire season. That's where we're going to start. Folks, welcome to the post game. I know it's not your favorite night. It's not my favorite night either. I like covering a winning team. I'll tell you that. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is RGR. Ooh, where do we start? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things to get into about this particular game, and I would like to start by saying that the Buccaneers were the team playing possum, not the Kansas City Chiefs in this situation.
Yep, Levante's fine. Well done, Levante. Sneaky, I like that.
Not even just that. Todd Bowles out here playing things he didn't do the entire offseason. They're going to offensive plays they didn't call all offseason, and the Chiefs were not ready for it on either side of the football. And it showed up right there in front of you guys. So that was fun.
We're going to give you our thoughts, some of our notes, and then we will get into your questions since there's so many folks in here tonight. It's nice to see you all. I'm glad that you made it. And I got caught up. Evidently, folks, there's way too many comments for me to go back. So we're going to start from right here. We'll move forward. But a couple of super chats. Thank you, Brian Gooch. As always, I can't put it up on the screen because I'm way too late. But he said, we started 3 legit linemen and 2 doorstops. Yeah, well, that's true. Oh, wait, I can put it up there. Look at that. Hey, I win. Folks, if you're new to RGR, click the like and the sub and the bell notification so you find out everything that's going on. Because of this loss and the time that it is, we're going to wait till tomorrow, but we'll start draft tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait very long. And Gooch, you're right. This, I will freely admit, I underestimated how badly Wiley in particular was going to struggle with speed. I thought he'd be able to adapt a little bit better. Those ends, Shaq Barrett in particular, played a better game than I expected from them.
Yeah, I thought they'd be able to do something offensively with the game plan, specifically to help Patrick Mahomes out. We saw it against the Bills where they got the ball out quickly. They were doing things that they should have done in this game to get the ball out quickly, adjusting and that kind of thing. And that was nowhere to be found. So I would like to point out that some of the draw plays that Clyde ran were very good. They were very good.
Yeah, there's a lot to unwind there. We're going to go through it all with Dan. I'm going to get the rest of these first. Gooch sent us another one. Thank you very much. When did we sign DTU tackles to the Super Bowl? I don't know where Raven's at, but yeah, he looked like he could have been out there. I'm not 100% sure there. It was going to be a long shot to be anything near what you have with Eric Fisher. But it was worse than I expected. I expected them to put up more of a fight. And quite frankly, there's a number of reasons for that, and I know that you're on them. We're going to get to those in a minute. RA, thank you very much for your super chat. I'll try to find another question here, but if you're still in the chat, just throw a question in now, and I should be able to find that from all these new ones going forward. Rich Whitehead, can one of Reed's strengths, his laid-back, player-friendly style, be a weakness at times when it comes to solid fundamental play? It can be a weakness at times. I don't think it's due to fundamental play, though. I think it's more about not getting in somebody's ass fast enough. You know what I mean? Like not being that prod.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's where I think that you can get Eric Bieniemy in some of that situation, but you don't want to step on toes if you're EB with your head coach. So that might be some things where you want to work some things out. But I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with the outcome of this game.
It seemed like the team itself was fired up enough.
Yeah, and I personally felt like some of them were just left on the bus. Like they just forgot that the game started and they were still waiting for the bus to get to the stadium.
It was definitely, and I'll say this before we get to Carlos's question. I can't put my finger on it either. Travis admitted the same thing. Everything was just off about this team.
Everything.
And I told my wife in watching warmups, they don't look normal. They're not loose. They're not screwing around. I don't see any of the vibe that they have pregame every other game.
Mm-hmm.
So something was off, and it affected nearly everyone, including the staff. And Carlos says this hurts, and I agree with you. Oh, and thank you, Rich, for your super chat, and Carlos for yours. I think we need to get help on the O-line department. Absolutely. Got Shrek'd. Okay, I like that, the way you put that. Mahomes couldn't even breathe. And that's true. I mean, did Mahomes throw some errant passes? Sure.
Yeah.
He was running for his freaking life the whole night. So I've already gotten a bunch. I've blocked like 6 people just in between when I finished the podcast 20 minutes ago and now, because they're throwing this Mahomes is nothing like you thought he was BS. He is. He did everything that he possibly could. I could say maybe there's a couple accuracy things, and there's one big thing that we'll talk about later, but I can't really put it on him.
I mean, he literally threw a pass sideways in the air to Darrell Williams, hit him in the hands.
Dude, he looked like he was in the Matrix.
You don't do those things if you're not the guy. If you're not the guy. I mean, if
he threw 3 falling out of bounds, too.
Yeah. I'm going to say it right now. If you switch spots, Tom Brady with Patrick Mahomes for this singular game, he takes 10,000 sacks in this game. Tom Brady does. There was nothing that he could have done outside of what he tried to do to do anything in this game.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, this plays into Andy being the player's coach. I don't think that's the problem. I think it just makes it harder. And quite frankly, the other thing that lays into this is a team that comes back all the damn time.
Yeah.
So I think part of that was also kind of like we waited too long to actually feel like we need to change things. And I think that's the theme, not only for the players, but for the staff. I think Dan and I have some different takes on that we'll get into. But Brandon, you have a very good point. It shouldn't be an excuse. But the broadcasters did point it out, and you go back and look at that second half. It was a tale of 2 halves, and it just wasn't called the way a Super Bowl usually would. And you can only prepare for what your expectation is from what you know from experience, and that was not it.
No, and I understand the crew itself is used to calling penalties. Like they're one of the most, they call the most penalties in the game. But you can't lopside it 8-1. I'll just say that. It can't be 8-1 in favor of one team for the other. If you're going to call penalties, I can't get over that fact. And again, it's not an excuse, but you're going to call penalties, you should call penalties. That's just kind of how I see it. Because
your point is very succinct, because there's penalties on every play.
Yeah.
It can be done. It's not like magically they're the only ones committing fouls. That's not the truth. But Brandon, thank you for your super chat. And folks, if you want to support us, the super chats are the easiest way. Super stickers, whatever. You can buy the tees and that kind of stuff. And we're going to need it because we got a lot of work to do. So we will say thank you now. I just want to make sure we get everybody. And Marcel asked, was I the only one who noticed the issue with some of the calls? No, not even some of the calls. Like literally the bulk of them. I will say that. I am confident in saying more of them were ticky-tack than should have been called.
I think they should go ahead and just give Mike Evans that Oscar now. He won it. Just fair and square, just falling down. Oh, I feel something on my foot. I'm going to fall down now.
Ruh-roh. Okay, we've gone through the super chats. I wanted to make sure we got everybody in there. I'm going to take that off because now we got to get to the meat. Okay. There are a number of things that were wrong. We've gotten some information from the post pressers that I think is actually a little refreshing, some of the comments myself, because you and I probably would have spent hours going around and around about this, but they've already been confirmed by one Chris Jones and by one Tyreek Hill. What's the big takeaway that stands out the most for you?
They did not properly prepare for this football game. They didn't have plan A and plan B. They thought the Bucs were going to come out here and do exactly what they did in the first game because they've been talking like they're going to. They never had a backup say, okay, so if they don't come out and they come out in zone but still play aggressively, we need to find a way to adjust to that. And if you guys remember, when I went and did the film review on what they adjusted to in the second half with those cover 4 looks, they did not do anything remotely close to what they needed to do to hit those underneath zones and get the ball out quick. And they didn't do nearly enough of it. And we still continue to see him Mahomes looking downfield and seeing 2 deep safeties. Todd Bowles played 80 0.2% two deep safeties in this game. He has never done that he hasn't done it all season. But guess what? The best break out their best stuff for the game. That something's going to throw you off. And it completely threw the Chiefs off, and they did not adjust to it at all.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think he's done that ever. Certainly not from his time since the Jets, and I don't think even before that, to tell you the truth. But remember, folks, I told you last week, Todd Bowles is a good quarterback. He will learn from his mistakes. He certainly did, and he put it on him. And the benefit of having – I mean, this was kind of a great coincidence for them, because not only did he learn his lesson, did he play deep to do what he had to do with the receivers, but he had the situation with the offensive line where he knew his front four could get there. That's literally the perfect combination if you're that defensive coordinator. And you're right. If you're not going to plan for something else, then you're not doing your preparation right. And there's a lot of bias built into what a lot of coaching staffs do, because they know guys around the league. This is not the first time they prepare for Todd Bowles defense. But at some point, and I think for me, I think it is, you have to expect, I think, coordinators on the defensive side to do more than maybe they ever have in the past, because it's Mahomes. Like, they're out of ideas. All they could do was set everybody deep and try to get their front four. If you let them do those two things, you lose.
Yeah, and you said the offensive line, it's a perfect situation. And when you're playing four backups, and obviously hindsight, maybe you instead just switch out someone at left tackle instead of just switching the entire offensive line around. But that's just kind of being, like I said, it's a hindsight issue that maybe you address had you known what was going to happen. But again, you need to have the backup plan in case things work out. They don't do the exact same thing they did last game. That's the one thing that's just so frustrating to me. We saw Clyde be able to do some things well with the draws, like I had mentioned earlier. They got some success with that going. But then, again, when you're running the ball and then you come back to throw it, and you still just try to throw the ball down the field, you get into the, again, second and long, third and long situations. Now Mahomes has to run for his life. He ran for like 475 yards in this game from passing situations. What are we doing here?
And AP, that's why I put your super chat up. Thank you for that. It did look like he ran himself a little bit out of it, but still more power to him because he kept running.
But I feel they come off more passionate. I feel like we're having a passionate conversation. I mean, we're not like yelling at each other like that. For me, I mean, I try to be more passionate about it, because I think that at the end of the day, we all knew it was going to be tough to get back to the Super Bowl after everything that happened in the offseason with COVID and everything that's been put into place. We talked about it in the game plan. And yeah, you're right there. And it's better to lose. At least I feel like it's a little bit better to lose in the Super Bowl than it is to lose the way the Chiefs have lost over the past, 10 years. So it's something.
For me, I always think about when I get a little bit too aggravated, I always think about, I'm going to run into Brandon Daly tomorrow and he's going to punch me in the face and tell me I'm an idiot for being upset.
Fine. I'm totally okay being wrong. Like, if they want to, if you guys are watching, anybody in the Chiefs front office, just go ahead, email me, tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. I'll take it.
That's all right. We all want to see this team continue to be successful after 50 years and everything else. It's just tough to see. And I think sometimes you get a little bit ahead of yourself. And if you get punched in the mouth sometimes in a game, in the literal sense of, being hit with something you didn't expect, it is all about the adjustments. And the thing that is scary is this team is always good at that.
Yeah. And
it just wasn't there tonight. And Brandon, running the ball is one of those things. You're right. Me, I'll never say don't run the ball. But, I've foregone it to this point because it's just too obvious out there, and nothing against it. They ran that pitch to the short side and it didn't work. And
did it once.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's not enough, and you get too far down. And honestly, if you're Andy and you're calling RPOs, a lot of that's Patrick on the decision-making process to throw a run. So you got to have a concerted effort between EB and Andy and Patrick. Hey, take some pressure off yourself and run the ball. Take it easier on yourself. And, let's have Sherm standing next to EB. Say, ready.
I mean, they also only went to Tyreek around that end around once. Like, they didn't do anything off of it. They didn't try it differently. They didn't try a jet sweep. They didn't do any of the things that they have been successful with in running the football anyway. Yeah. It just felt like they were like, let's just drop back pass, and that's what we're going to do. That's going to be our dying wish today. Like, that's just kind of what it felt like.
I was waiting for the crack sweep, and I wanted to see with Sammy in the game lined up in the slot. I was waiting for him to come inside and just create that edge, and it just didn't happen. Now that said, the way Sammy was moving, I didn't feel he was 100%.
No, it clearly wasn't, but I mean,
not even close, in my opinion.
You could do it with Byron. You could do it with Pringle.
And we're not going to focus on just the negatives tonight, folks.
No, we are not.
Byron was one of the standouts. And I know he only got, 3 targets? 2 targets.
Yeah.
But special teams, he was there. I know
that tackle was impressive.
Right? Tyler, I don't remember what the call was on Ward, if that was holding or interference.
It was probably neither, but it was probably called a hold.
Okay. That's what I couldn't remember. Thank you for your super chat, as well as Brandon. And Stevie, saw that too. And Devin White, another time, hit Mahomes when he was already on the ground. There were some things missed. And I think that, unfortunately, was second half. And so I'm guessing the refs got a call at halftime.
Yes, they clearly did. It was obvious.
This ain't the way we call Super Bowls, folks. Back off. And then all of a sudden, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
So it definitely felt like that to me. I was concerned with Patrick's safety more than once, I have to say.
Yeah.
Judging by my notes.
He got crunched between 3 guys, bent over backwards. It was not fun to watch him in this game.
And Gooch, they had their problems. Give credit on the goal line. In the red zone, they stood that up and stopped them. I didn't think that they had it in them, to tell you the truth.
Kudos. Honestly, I told my wife, this doesn't happen on 4th down. Usually it goes in. And
that was on Hitch, the play before. Hitch set up, and Damian finished that off and made the actual stop. And that was some beautiful defense. It's just when they got in the point where I felt like you have to expect run at 12 minutes left in the 4th when they're up that much. They're trying to eat the clock, and it didn't feel like they were really ready for it. They were still worried about the pass. I mean, that's the time when Brady will embarrass you too. You saw him go for that deep ball.
He wanted it. He wanted 40.
Yeah, and Tony Romo can say it all he wants. That's just what you do, so it's a safe throw. No, it's not. No, that does not need to happen. So It is what it is. 40 mil for 4 pressures and 1 sack. Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Getting the ball out 2.27 seconds on average in this game. That's a hard ask of anybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When they did it, when Patrick started to get a little bit going, right? It was Tyreek on the slant.
Yep.
It was Kelsey on the skinny post over, right? There was a number of things, but it was about hitting the tempo and getting the ball out. That's the adjustment that had to be made a quarter earlier. This might be a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, and I think that the Bucs were able to do almost everything they wanted to in terms of whether they ran the football. They did a couple screens early in the game to get the pressure off of the pass rush. They were able to play action. They still hit some deep shots. Everything they wanted to do, they did. And when you can do multiple things on offense, that really hurts your pass rush because you can't just sit back, pin your ears back, and just go after Tom Brady. There's not much you can do to really counter that. If you've got to worry about the play action, you got to worry about the run, you got to worry about any other sort of thing. So it's hard. It's a hard ask of the defense when you're not up and you don't know what the offense is going to do.
Blake, I understand how you're feeling, but at the same time, it's a tough situation. You're a backup guard. Let's not forget, Andrew Wiley was not the starter.
Yeah.
Laurent Duvernay-Tardif is the starter at right guard. So Wiley was starting by default game 1, and now he's out at right tackle. I actually am disappointed in myself because I feel like I kind of gave people a little more pressure on him. I felt he was going to play well. Clearly, and you guys heard us talk last week, Shaq Barrett and the speed were the bigger problem than JPP.
Yeah.
He got some push a couple of times, but I didn't see him affecting the game that much. At the end of the day, though, that's a tall order. And if you called the game like the expectation would have been, then I don't have any problem with Breland.
Yeah, no, I got no issues. That's just how how he's always played.
Yeah.
That's just who he is, and that's what we've lived with the last 2 years, and it's been fine.
Okay. Well, and I need you to check me because I'm not here to make excuses for players, but that's how I see it. And sometimes I think folks feel that I'm a little soft on giving Bashaud Breeland some criticism.
We talked about it, this early in the season. I'll live with holding penalties for a corner, especially when that's your job to be more physical. The playoffs we talked about last week. they're more lenient with holding in the playoffs with corners, like they are. And Tom Brady talked to them before the game saying, look, they're going to hold all game. Like that's what he did because they played him already. He knew they were going to do it. They knew it.
Yeah. And that's the unknown part that I think a lot of people don't know about the inside of the NFL, about how the coaches in particular can affect the refs.
Yeah,
by pointing those things out, and that's part of the gamesmanship too. There's a lot to it. Back 26, good question. I think Pringle getting the number of snaps that he got, particularly early, over Robinson, I think shows you a kind of a feeling of where they're at. Dan Sorensen's another deal. I mean, he's older. I think his contract is running out. I'm not sure if he's a free agent or if he's got one more year. I'm not. I think the team is going to want him back, and if he takes a reduced deal, I think he might return.
Yeah, my thing is that now you've seen some of these players over the last 2 years. You've got tape consistently on what they do best, what they don't do in this defense. You've got to start worrying about the future because of the salary cap this year going forward, and you're going to have to make some cuts, whether it's guys that you like a Sorensen, who everyone particularly likes on the team. He's close with Andy Reid, I know that, but it's not about relationships. It's about now getting under the cap with young talent that you can continue to develop and continue to make yourself a contender. I personally feel that guys like Sorensen, who are older, who don't do a whole lot of things particularly well, are just players on the roster. More upside.
He's older than I thought, actually. Okay, so here's a quick highlights of the free agents. Don't cry. Sammy Watkins, Alex Okafor, Daniel Sorensen, who is 31, and I didn't realize that. Unrestricted. Bashad, Damian Wilson, D-Rob, Austin Ryder, Clutchy Assembly, Mike Remmers, Sherm, he will be back. Tano Passanio, Kilgore, Pennell, Hamilton, okay. Lev, Taco, Kaiser, Daryl. I believe Daryl will come back as well. Yeah. Ben Neiman, Travarius, Pringle, he'll be back. Alex Brown, Deion Yelder, and Andrew Wiley. And I know, right? And
Wiley got punched by 1,000 tiny little fists in the chest.
Wiley will be back too, I believe. That said, that is a ton of players. This team has a tall order because from this point forward, you realize that you are deficient at tackle, certainly in depth. You don't know what you have in Yang, in my opinion. Workout videos on Instagram or whatever else. You don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Laurent saying that he will be back is a big deal. I think that immediately bolsters the inside. Yeah. And I think Allegretti's earned that left side job if they don't sign a vet. If Assembly magically heals, I can see bringing him back because I liked what he did.
Yeah.
But man, that seems like a tall order at 32.
Yeah, but crazy. That dude is something else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
regenerate his tendons.
I'd have him back in a minute. Yeah. I think D-Rob will probably be allowed to seek employment elsewhere. Just like they did this last season. If he again finds nothing on the table, maybe they bring him back again. But clearly I think that they have found what we kind of saw early in the season is that Pringle should probably be getting those snaps all the time.
Yeah. There's a very real possibility that the Chiefs, again, don't have their starting tackles to start of next year. There's a very real possibility.
They won't have Fisher for week 1.
Yeah, they won't.
No. There's no way. So then you're talking about Durant. You're talking about, Remmers isn't even side. Now there's Wiley, right? The two that played in this game. Yeah. So you literally don't have one. You have Niang, you have Durant, you have Rankin, possibly. I don't think they're done. I think free agency might even have to come into it. Because whatever tackle you draft, I'm not sure you can put them in and try to make a Super Bowl run as a rookie. After what you just saw tonight, I think you have to have a little bit more experience. What do you think?
So I think experience can only get you so far at tackle. I do believe, let's just say Mitch Schwartz comes back at some point next year as the right tackle. Okay. That's obviously a fingers crossed situation. Niang is a right tackle. I don't feel comfortable putting him at left, especially without an offseason. He already didn't have this whole year to practice and play as left tackle. I think that you can still draft in the first round a left tackle that can get you better left tackle play than you just saw, to be completely honest with you, outside with Remmers.
Okay.
And so now it's about finding the in-between spot between Fisher and Remmers and trying to hit that. I think you can get by. I don't think that you're going to see Fisher play next year, especially if you do end up drafting a left tackle. He might not be ready to play it all next year. If he is, might not even be until the end of the season, postseason. And I'm not sure you want to just insert him into the starting lineup. You don't know how it's going to react. So I believe you can get good offensive tackle play in the first round in this particular draft.
I hope so. I know that there's depth there. I'm just not sure if the high end is there. So that's and we're just starting our reviews.
Yeah.
Dan's actually ahead of me on the O-line. He's ahead of me on everything because I haven't done but 3 players. So there's some out there. But Adam, I want to make sure I got your previous one. I think we answered Beth's. So Adam, I'm sorry I missed this one. I'm going back for your other. Is it an uncatchable ball? Sorry, I have it on this other screen. It's an uncatchable ball, not a thing anymore. None of the PIs were catchable. Why isn't this considered? I think it's that crew that generally doesn't account, in my opinion, as much for the ball placement, and they're watching the players.
Yeah.
And if there's a legitimate hold or a legitimate PI, they call it regardless.
I also think they never even saw the ball.
Well, the only time that I remember them not calling something because of ball placement was out of the back of the end zone. And then the arc of the ball is usually so high that it's really, really evident. So
yeah,
that's my thought. I don't know, Adam. So I'm sorry I missed your last one, and thank you for a second one. You could have just yelled at me. It'd be perfectly fine. Aaron's not in here, but he probably would have helped if he were. Other super chats, make sure I don't miss them all. Good Lord, I'm behind. Mike Hall, thank you very much. Okay, that was the one after Beth's. Okay. How do the Chiefs fix the O-line and the pass rush in the offseason?
Don't have 4 injuries and an opt-out.
You need more depth, and you need your players back. I hope that Niang's workouts are indicative of what he's able to do. He's got a nice nasty streak from his college film.
He does.
And I do believe that they kind of were bringing him in to groom him to take over for Mitch. So if he's done physical rehab, and he had what? He had a hip labrum, or was it a shoulder? I can't remember now.
I believe it was shoulder.
Okay. Which is much better for an offensive tackle. I'm just going to tell you guys now. But the good thing about his opt-out has allowed him to rehab for a longer time frame, which means that should be a much more stable injury, which means he's closer to 100% the player he was before the injury than any other situation. That might be a big plus.
Yeah. He was the best right tackle in college football the year before he got injured, just to let you guys know.
I had him up there pretty high too. I don't think I had him number 1, but hey.
I'm saying he got the award for being the best right tackle.
Oh, right. Yeah. He did get the award.
He actually got it. So
that said, that does require Mitch Schwartz, who we know nothing about, but the fact that he's missed the bulk of the season and it's a back injury does not bode well for him returning.
And that they haven't said a thing about it.
Right. Silence is golden. And that might just be the retirement gold I'm talking about. And don't get me wrong. Mitch Schwartz retires today. He's in the Hall of Fame discussion. He had that streak that was Iron Man-like. So I don't know that he has to push any farther. And if that's the case, and he does forego next season and Niang is back, they might feel comfortable that they can move him in there. And then you're talking about one tackle on the other side that can keep you afloat until Fish can return. Because if it wasn't for this particular injury, I think Fish had another 2 or 3 years.
Man, it's really tough. You lose 2 tackles, but you lose your bookends. And, we just watched them last year. Mitch had one, if not the greatest single postseason in right tackle history, just was incredible. And now we're talking about possibly not having either of them next year. It's crazy how things can change.
Yeah. Mike, on your other one, the pass rush, I don't know what they can do about it, especially if you have to do the tackle now. You're not getting a premium pass rusher in the 3rd round. You know what I mean?
Bring back Taco.
I hope so. I think he earned it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree.
I like Okafor. Too hurt too often. I don't think he's back. He is a player that I actually really like, though, and I like what he brings. I didn't see him play a whole lot tonight, though, and I'm a little little surprised by that, but
it didn't matter. Wirfs was just too good.
yeah, Wirfs was really good. That said, I like Mike Dan a lot. Can he become an actual pass rusher you have to worry about? I'm not sure yet.
It's going to take an off season. Like it's going to at least you got to see what he's got in the tank with more reps. And I know that's not easy to see because he doesn't have all of those things to jump out on tape. Like he doesn't have the elite burst that you guys want to see around the edge, and he's still got some hand work to work with. But he's got tools, so you need to see what he can do with more reps, and hopefully he can develop into something.
Yeah, I hope so. I just think that they're going to go out and do something else as well. So whether that's Taco or somebody else,
yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of pass rushers that are available this year.
Yeah.
Because the high end makes so much money. I think there's going to be room in this whole free agency. They said, I think yesterday the word was 181 is the cap.
That's something like that.
Which is nice to get a little extra $6 than what I was expecting last week. That's a plus. That's a player. That's Taco in a heartbeat. So that's good. Hank, thank you for the super chat, and nice to see you out there in Cali. Who else? Trying to hit all the super chats, you guys. And hey, don't worry. This season's over. Next season starts tomorrow. We will have a Monday night Q&A chat. I guarantee you. We will do that all year long.
I'll have my first mock draft on Wednesday.
Oh, look at that. He even said it. Rock on. So I did ask the question the week before last. If you guys wanted one mock a week, we'll alternate. Or if you want both. A lot of people want 2 mocks a week. I'm fine to do that. You guys let us know in the comments, whether you're in the live chat, put them over in the regular comments. And if you're seeing this on replay, let us know. Do you want 1 or 2, or do you want us to do some kind of conglomeration? I'm happy to go head to head with anybody. So I don't care. My board is always evolving. So.
That's true.
Mike, did the Bucs expose anything about the Chiefs and mostly beating themselves in a bad O-line? Expose anything that wasn't there? No, I think the Bucs did an excellent job of taking advantage of what the situation was.
Yeah. Todd Bowles did an absolutely fantastic job of just doing what you have to do to beat the Chiefs, then them not adjusting like that. I'm not saying that their adjustments would have beaten them. It would have given them a much better shot. But Todd Bowles 100% was the MVP of this Super Bowl. 100%.
Stone Brewing, it's not what it used to be, but it's really good. And I need another one now. Gooch has another comment. I can only imagine who this is about. Oh, it's not. Hey, great. O-line was bad, but CEH is missing some chips into his route. Could have given Mahomes a little bit. Yeah, but not enough, in my opinion. I can't say that was what forced plays or anything like that. But let's see. Tuesday night, I believe. Yeah, because I bumped it back from last week. Tuesday night is member Zoom. So if you are all pro or elite, and then Gooch, you and I will have a one-on-one later this week too.
I promise you guys a nice little explicit-filled rant for that specific Zoom member chat.
It's gonna be ugly. Yeah.
This is my nice face.
I didn't know you had one of those.
Yeah, well, you know.
All right, we're falling behind. Let me get here. Got that one. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Thank you, Gooch, for pointing out. I guess we're at 700 tonight. Well done, everybody.
I know it's tough, but we appreciate you coming to, watch some tears flow with us.
Commiserate. And hey, there's always next season. It's gonna be a challenge. But I am excited about the fact that the Chiefs can improve their athleticism in some positions that I think will help them down the line. And I'm all happy to help. Kevin Steele. Wouldn't it make sense to cut Fisher and save $12 million after the guy has literally drug himself up from the muck and into the top 10 of left tackles in the league, and then he has one injury? I ain't cutting him.
I don't think you can justify that. That's a real we don't care move. I think that this organization is far too loyal to some of their players, and I think that Fisher's one of the people that has 100% deserved to be on this roster and show that he can still play coming back from that injury.
Mm-hmm. I will say this, though. You can go to Eric and say, listen, man, you're going to be rehabbing. You mind restructuring that year and maybe give us $6 million back?
Yeah, maybe. That's something you can definitely do because he's not going to be playing. And I would think that the way that they've shown loyalty to him, and he wants to play for this team. I can tell you that much, and I think that's something they can definitely look into.
Stevie, I'm sorry I missed that. I don't think Aaron's in the chat tonight. Oh, he is there. Come back with me with a regular comment. Don't give me another super chat because I missed one, Stevie. But I will answer it. Rondale Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amon, I can't remember how to pronounce that, and Terrence Jefferson. Talk to me.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is a very fun guy. I'm telling you right now, I just want them to take offensive line in the first round. I personally, depending on how the board is, I think there's going to be some good offensive tackle prospects there. That being said, if they're gone, give me Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is a plug-and-play replacement for Sammy Watkins.
That's awesome. I can't wait to look at him. I looked at Moore's junior film or sophomore film. I haven't looked at what did he play? 2 games this last year?
Yeah, I think, and then he opted out.
Okay, so I still have to see those. So there should be a jump in progression for even a guy that good, but I haven't seen it yet, you guys.
I'm also not sure if Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be a first-round pick yet. We got to wait till we get our rankings out.
Yeah.
He's really good, though.
Scott, give me some clarification because
which one?
There's 2 of them, and I actually liked what I saw from Hayes. I was a little surprised by that. Is it Hayes or Haynes?
I think it's Haynes.
Okay. I liked what he did, and I think he'll be a lower draft pick. I think he might be in the late 2nd, 3rd roundish, which is a place that I could see them going D-line.
Yeah, Tommy Grainer is going to be down there too, 4th round-ish.
Gotcha.
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Kevin Rivas, thank you very much for your support. Stevie, I'm looking here, trying to get your question. Teams were 9, she's going into the 4th and 1 until 10. Okay, good point.
Yeah, see, exactly. It usually comes out. They usually get it.
Yeah, it was a tendency buster. It's just weird. Let's see. Okay, he's talking to Aaron. Coaching staff looked like they had money on the Bucs.
Oh gosh. Don't say
yeah,
like
Stevie, I missed that one. I'm gonna have to go back and maybe I can find it over here. Hold on. Okay, our coaching game plans looked like the whole coaching staff put money on the Bucs. Yeah, I can guarantee you that didn't happen.
Yeah.
The coaching staff missed out, I think, on a $65,000 or $70,000 bonus. So yeah, they didn't do that. I guarantee it. Players missed out on what? 130.
130, I think so. Yeah.
It's not a small increment.
No, there's incentives there for a reason.
Yeah, it is not just pride on the line. Avery, is it me or is the first drive McCole failed to track the ball plus up 7-0 that changes the trajectory of the game? Possibly big difference between the 7-0 bomb versus the 3. Possibly. This is my big thing with McCole, and I've been McCole's corner this whole time. I still am. But I'm not happily in his corner now. Now I'm demanding improvement because you've been on this team for 3 years. Pat's been screaming at you for 3 years to run through your route no matter what. And he pulled up, whether he knew where the ball was or not. He pulled up.
He does it too often, guys. This is a problem. It's a very big problem. I was happy with the draft pick at the time. Like I looked at his tape. I said, "There's stuff here. Like there's things here," and we're seeing actually little to no improvement on what he did in college. Like he looks like the exact same player. You can't have that with the 2nd round draft pick or wide receiver. You can't.
I think he runs the interior routes, the slants a little bit better. I think he can hit when he's outside. He can run a dig better, I think. But like you said, that's incremental improvement. That's not enough. And in particular, when you have this quarterback, learning the same lesson over and over and over for 3 years is taking too long at this point.
Yeah,
and like I said,
one off season.
Yeah, I'm a big McCole Hardman supporter. That's why I'm saying this, because he can be better. I think he should be better.
After this season, I am not as big a supporter as I was.
Okay. I'm sorry if this was answered. No problem, Peter. Will Osemele be back or have value for us somewhere? We really just don't know.
If he's healthy, they will. I think they will try to get him back. I'm confident in saying that.
I hope so. I really liked what he does. I mean, he brings an attitude, man.
Yeah.
And I like that. You have Osemele and LDT, all of a sudden we can run inside.
Well, kind of. You still need a center.
I wasn't going to go there. But okay.
Just put Allegretti there, then you got something at least.
Let's see. Jason Tracy, photo 1 left us something, but didn't ask a question. Same with Jerry Bergman.
Thank you, guys.
Jerry, hit us up.
We do appreciate it.
put us on the spot. It's okay. I'm just venting at this point. But thank you both very much. Gooch will not be afraid to ask a question. He's very happy to see you, Dan. That's hilarious.
I wish you would have scored a touchdown in this game. I'm not going to lie. It would have been something to see. But when you don't use one of the guys that can actually protect your quarterback, it's just kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah. I mean, let's be really clear, especially now that we're caught up on everything, you guys. This is not a teardown. This is not the end of the world. This team will compete for the Super Bowl again next season. Do they have some things they have to replace? Yes. But I don't see anything that precludes them from adapting their offense yet again if they're not able to replace everything they have here. And I think, honestly, a fresh start in some of these positions, wide receiver 4, depth on the O-line, the left outside at the DN spot. There's room there. I like what Tershawn Wharton did. I didn't feel there was enough support in the pass rush from that spot tonight. But he is an exemplary rookie from coming out of nowhere. When I say they might like Haynes or they might like one of the other interior guys, that's again because Pennell's a free agent. I don't know if they're comfortable with what they have in Saunders. I still love the guy, but I'm not sure they do. And they need more.
Yeah, they got to figure something out.
And they need a wrecker. Tershawn's good. He's consistent. He's a worker, but he's not right now a jump in the gap and wreak havoc kind of guy.
Yeah, you look what the Bucs brought to the table on their front four: Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, JPP, and Barrett. They got some guys they can just sit there and take on doubles for days. Like, there's a reason that they were trying to welcome the Chiefs to run the football because they didn't think that they could really do it. And then you find some ways that they can use draw plays to get some good matchups for them, and it didn't work out for them because they decided to run away from it. So it's you get some guys in there with Chris Jones that he doesn't have to play all the time. You can get some first down just maulers with Derek Nottie. You can work with that. You can keep Chris Jones a bit fresher for those pass rush situations.
Yeah, but you have to have a little bit more of that. Okay, I'm gonna leave this one for you, Dan.
Okay,
because I know what I'll say. Tyler Crawford is asking this, and I'm being cryptic because of this right now. No thinking. Who's your number 1 pick in the draft?
No thinking. So I don't have like an option. I just have to say it. It's going to be Alex Leatherwood.
For you or for number 1 overall?
Oh, number 1 in like this.
No, it is for 30th first pick.
Okay, for 31st pick is with Alex Leatherwood.
Okay, because I'm going to say Pat Surtain.
Well, yeah, you just can't get him. So
yeah, I'm just not
going to be there. Probably.
I know. I'm not giving up the dream.
I know. I appreciate the drive there.
Brendan, thank you. Do you think that Mahomes will use this motivation to come back? Yeah. I think Patrick will be training as soon as he's out of surgery next week, and I think you will see him down with Bobby doing his thing. Dude, I would not be surprised to see him with some kind of tat or some kind of thing that reminds him of this.
I don't even think he needs it. I think he just knows, like, this is...
Maybe the scar on his toe will do it.
Does not want to feel this way.
Gooch, I am predicting Mahomes FU tour, no MVP, embarrassing the Super Bowl, and it's going to be nuclear. You should have seen the face of the presser. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch that because I was recording at the time. Just the disgust when Darryl dropped that pass. And you guys know I love Darryl. It was a tough catch. Defender fore and aft. But he should have had that ball.
Tyreek should have had that catch in the end zone in the first quarter.
Travis, D-Rob.
Multiple drops. Like,
and I put it this way pregame. I had the Chiefs winning 34-31. The defense did exactly what I thought that they were going to do, which was this was a formidable team that they beat. This was a formidable team that they had to go up against, and in that scenario would have beaten closely. Without the offense being able to put out, it still was exactly the same thing. You can't put it all on the wide receivers, though, because it is the protection, because he can't deliver the ball in time where it's supposed to be in rhythm all the time. It's only a portion of it. There is no one thing that you can blame in this game.
No, tons of things happened. And I think that it would have gone closer had they been able to move the football a little bit earlier in the game, when the defense came out and they were like, look, you're not going to do anything. Because that's pretty much what they had set up twice for Mahomes to get the ball and go score and put the Bucs in a bad situation offensively. And they couldn't do it. And Todd DeBoles did a great job. Like I said, you got to tip a hat sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, and I thought Frank Clark did a good job of that. From what the quote that I did see from the pressers, he acknowledged that they beat him. Wolverine, anybody else think that there was an outside incident that caused a problem? It probably had a factor. We don't know what it is. The fact is that they were just not right for whatever the reason was. Yeah. And that's a challenge, especially when you're I also wonder in myself, just because of the way I travel, like normally you're down there a week, and I thought this was a good thing not going to like 48 hours before.
Yeah.
But maybe that was a disadvantage. Maybe they didn't get settled in. Maybe they weren't comfortable. I don't know.
I find it a little hard to believe because they were undefeated on the road this year, and the situation doesn't change that much. And if you just maybe because their mindset was Super Bowl, we need to be there for a week. Like maybe that's what it was. Like they couldn't get mentally in the space like they did last year. It didn't feel the same, so they didn't play the same. I don't know. That's kind of some mental gymnastics on my part. I think that you just try and you go into a game, you play the game. They just didn't look comfortable. They didn't. And whether that's because of what happened or they just didn't mentally come off the bus, like that whatever it is, it didn't happen. They just didn't play well.
Yeah. There was just, I mean, again, I watched the guys in warmups to see what they're doing when they're not taking snaps. Somebody's usually dancing around or doing something. That's the sign of this team because they're always so confident and loose. And I just didn't see that. Jerry, thank you again. Second one for you tonight, I think. Will DeAndre vie for a starting position next year? Starting's a stretch. Depends what they decide to do with Ward. I think Ward is a restricted rights free agent.
Ward can go.
You'll get an argument from me.
Yeah, I'm done.
He is restricted, which means they can slap a second-round pick on him, which no one will give up, and they'll get him back for cheap.
And to answer that previous question, the number one priority is getting under the cap and then protecting Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. Did we not actually answer that? Sorry. Number one, always, from here until eternity says, exactly. Number one priority is protecting Patrick Mahomes.
That's what it is. You protect the $500 million man. That's what you do.
I'll be 80 years old calling these games after Mitch retires, and I will be telling you, protect Patrick Mahomes. Okay, let's see what else we got. Ryan Conley, how are you? He liked the 2011 season when tickets were $50.
That was nice, wasn't it?
long over, my friend. Thank you again, Jason. No question, but wanted to remind all of us there were many years.
Yeah,
we never made the playoffs. You're absolutely right. And there were many years when they were a perennial playoff team.
I would still call this a success season, successful season, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, it sucks to lose in the Super Bowl, but you went back, you got back to it after all the crap hit the fan in the offseason. So, it'll have an asterisk next to it just because of COVID, but it was a success.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Kat, when you do have a question, we'll answer that too. At least I know I will.
Answer questions.
If there's anyone that can fix the issues that we have, it's Brett Veach. Good point. I like what he does too. I think he's very, very good. I think honestly, at this point, when you see how much turnover they've got, there are teams that if they were down to we have this argument in training camp, right? Do you keep 9 offensive linemen or 8 offensive linemen? Well, they were using 8 and 9 as starters tonight. If it wasn't for Brett Veach and the scouting staff and all the personnel staff, not just the scouting staff, but everyone else who does pro personnel too. If you didn't have that staff, you wouldn't have those guys and you wouldn't have been in this game.
Yeah. I've said it on Twitter and I've had some pushback that it was a take that aged poorly. I think that Mike Remmers has been the second best free agent signing of the Mahomes era, just because I don't think they even get here without Mike Remmers playing right tackle for most of the season. I don't think they do it.
They're the 3 seed probably if it isn't for Mike Remmers.
But they might be further down that. You just don't know. Injuries are just so random, and Schwartz, you go from Schwartz to Durant, like that may have been the situation this year. I mean, how much do you think Mahomes is running for his life? Maybe he gets hurt doing that. You never know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the second part, can you imagine if we had the Texans GM? They do have a GM now. For a long time they didn't, though. They just had a head coach masquerading as a GM.
But
and
yes, now
that front office, man, they are, and you're going to see people move on from the front office here in the next few years. I think at least 3 of the execs had interviews this year. So enjoy it while you got it, because this is a tough road to continue to replace these players, and it's going to have to continue. Okay, we got a couple more, and we will call it a night until tomorrow when we'll answer every question that's out there. But Delmont, thank you very much. Did the penalties decide the game? My homework was going nuts. I don't feel like it decided it. I feel the team's lack of reaction to it decided it.
There was a little bit too much penalty talk in the pressers for my liking, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think that there's always going to be some effect it has. That penalty on the interception, just that one gnaws at me a little bit, just because. And I know that some people are going to say momentum doesn't exist. The players believe in momentum, guys. Like Travis Kelce talked about it. They believe in momentum. So you may not like the term momentum, but that kind of stuff shifts the way things happen a little bit. And the interception, I think, could have been some type of launching point for them defensively, mentally, but that's when it starts to beat them up a little bit. So whether it had I don't think they had a true impact on the game, because like we talked about, neither offense or defensive game plan really changed much, and they just kind of didn't adjust. So maybe it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Maybe not. It is what it is at this point. We'll rehash it. We're going to look at the film, and we're going to start the draft. Yeah, I don't think either of us could ignore it if we wanted to. This is what we do. And Scott, you have a very good point. I'm glad you brought this up. We should. Marty Schottenheimer and thoughts out to Brian and the rest of the family as well. Very it's a tough situation. Yeah, I've been through hospice situation, so it is not comfortable. But I will say this: it does allow you the time to say goodbye. So, more power to Marty. Yeah. Brandon. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. I don't know how you just ignore that. That's the goal of being a professional, is you try to tune things out that are outside distractions and you focus on the game. So I'm sure in the back of something, maybe that's what had everybody kind of off kilter. That's how I kind of feel about it. But you have a good point, Stevie. It's hard to count on Assembly given that injury. I would love to, but there's plenty of time to go over this, you guys. Free agency is coming. We have a long list to break down, and we'll probably go through them in some chunks as well. When Dan's not doing mock drafts.
Yeah, well, got to get them in. Got to get them all in.
So that said, question night tomorrow night, Q&A. We'll do an hour. I'm sure there's plenty there. Tuesday is members night. I'll have the first take as well, and that should be interesting. I've got some ideas cooking around. Wednesday will be Dan's mock draft. And then I will have something. I might do a mock as well. I'm not sure. I really want to know what you guys think. So if you want 2 mock drafts a week, put them down there in the comments, because we need to know that. Otherwise, it feels repetitive to me. So it's like kind of against my instinct. But if that's what you guys want, we'll do it. So, one more super chat. The Breeze just tipped us off. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you were in Veach's office as an advisor and how to proceed in the off season, what recommendations are you making? Thank you, Breeze. Appreciate it. Well, it's a couple of things. For me, and honestly, this is one of my goals, to have this conversation with Brett Veach someday. Is I know that the organization relies on athleticism, and I rely heavily on athleticism. It is the focus of what I do. That said, you have to have film, you have to have the fit, you have to have all the other things, but I think there's opportunities in some of these guys that are free agents that allow you to actually get more athletic at their positions in order to help keep that like dynamicism up, so that you hopefully have a third and a fourth receiver that when they take away Tyreek and they take away Travis, not that they took away Travis tonight, but it felt like it at times, right? That you have more to step up. And I think that's going to be the key going forward, especially in a depressed cap situation. I think it's more of a challenge. So that is something that we'll be talking about, or at least I'll be talking about, whether anyone listens or not.
Yeah, we'll take that same focus point to the linebacker room too. In my opinion, at least, I think that Willie's a good start. Hitchens has played better, but then you got 1 and 2, and that's it. Wilson's gone.
There's very few positions on any team that you can't afford to get more athletic at.
Yeah.
I think the safety's got to be in their plans. Whether they bring back Dan or not, I don't know that they feel Armani should be on the field. They want to run 3 safeties. That's clearly evident. I don't think I give Spags credit for adapting to his players more so than a lot of coordinators do. I do feel he wants to have that 3 safety set out there. I think what you see when you see too high and Tyron's able to come underneath, I think that's a good mix too. I want to see them run double robber as well, with Juan over the top with 2 roaming middle guys, and maybe one of them is Juan, and maybe you get another true free safety to play over the top of both of them and let Juan do his thing too. But I think those are, in today's NFL, with the volume of passing and quite honestly, the number of teams that are going to take away concepts from what the Chiefs do and try to replicate them, I think that's the area of field where you can make some hay.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And that was one thing I didn't really notice in this game is Juan Thornhill was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, not much opportunity.
I don't know if I didn't see him all that much either. Like I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at his snap count. Most of the time he lines up off the screen, if I remember correctly. Like I didn't notice him either. But what I do remember is when they were pressing downfield on some of those big passes, mostly on the outside, where they had singled up with the corners. So I don't know if that was taken away or if that was hidden. This is why Dan and I will have to break down the film, whether anybody else wants to watch it or not. We'll do it for ourselves, but we'll have some answers. Okay, William, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Everybody else, drop them in there and let us know. We'll be back tomorrow night and all week long. Dan, thank you for the time.
Of course. We always gotta share in our victories and our miseries. So
keep your chin up, Chiefs Kingdom. Super Bowl 56 coming at you.
I'll be back.
We'll talk to you later.